Today we're going to be looking at the 3700X versus the 5800X, both overclocked to as high as I could get them. Both of these were ran on the MSI B450 Tomahawk Max 2 with a Radeon VII. Now, for the 5800X I managed an all-core score of 4.7 GHz, and for the 3700X I managed a all-core score of 4.4 GHz. The Cinebench R15 we managed a score of 2634 and a single core score of 248 points, and that is for the 5800X. For the 3700X it managed 2303 for multi-core and 211 on the single core. First up gaming we have Valorant, where the 3700X managed 267 FPS with a 1% low of 92 FPS. Whereas the 5800X managed an average of 491 FPS and a 1% low of 211. This was 100% the highest gap we saw today between the two CPUs. Now for Hogwarts Legacy, we have Ultra settings, no ray tracing, 1080p. The 3700X managed an average frame rate of 103 FPS with a 1% low of 50. The dip only seemed to happen when going to new areas, so it would usually dip to like 70 FPS, but it didn't happen always. It was pretty inconsistent in that regard. The 5800X, however, managed an average of 115 FPS and a 1% low of 74 when entering a new area. That would normally dip to 85.
My suspicion is that there's more to the story than a search for belongings and an extended trip up to the castle.
I'm sorry, Professor, but I'm afraid that's all there is to it.
Almost precisely what Professor Fig said. Speak of the devil, Professor Fig.
The third game we're looking at today is Metro Exodus with a mix of medium and high settings at 1080p, as you'll see in the video. A bit of low mixed in there too. So the 3700X got an average of 99 FPS and a 1% low of 68 FPS. Now you could get a better frame rate just by turning the settings down a little bit, but yeah. The 5800X managed a score of 113 FPS and a 1% low of 86. Next up, I tested 7 Days to Die at low settings, high texture to show what they would do on a more powerful GPU, as I didn't want the GPU to be the bottleneck. First up, the 3700X averaged 205 with a 1% low of 102. The 5800X came in with an average of 267 and a 1% low of 126, which is a decent gap for sure.
The apocalypse isn't so bad. It must be my lucky day. Thank you. And here you go. Peace be with you, my friend. I've got a job. You the man.
Lastly, I wanted to test an older game that I'm sure many remember fondly, Bioshock Remastered. With the maximum settings on the 3700X, I got an average of 330 FPS with a 1% low of 187. The 5800X had an average of 462 and a 1% low of 200, so a lot higher on the averages but not a lot different in the 1% low. Before I sign off, I should ask, is there any other videos you want to see with the 5800X or the Radeon VII, as I'll be sure to make them. Just, yeah, drop a comment, let me know, and I'll make it. Sweet. Enjoy the clip, guys.